What's up, everyone? It's Karthik and Moneyvest. So the birthday week is finally over in the markets, and we are capping in one of the strongest weeks in the market, not to mention the best week for Tesla in over 2 years. We are now finally above $300 per share, and of course the market cap for the company is now sitting well over $1 trillion. Once again, it is like absolutely crazy to now believe and see Tesla stock trading well over $320 per share. It's finally happening. So this right here was, of course, the entire market. Dow Jones crossing over 44,000 points for the first time in history. It was up over 250 points, although closed slightly below that level. S&P 500 for the first time in history, crossing over 6,000 points. So both the Dow Jones, the S&P, and even the NASDAQ ended up hitting a new all-time high. However, the NASDAQ was really not up all that much. If you come over to IXIC, which is the NASDAQ composite, we were essentially flat on the day. And of course, S&P 500 up over 38 basis points on the day as well. So this market was actually pretty scattered all across the board, because if you take a look at the heat map, you'll notice that we did have, of course, a very strong day for companies like Tesla, Eli Lilly, Salesforce, Palantir, SoFi, Costco, Procter & Gamble. So there was a very select few companies that were actually moving up. We had utilities push up, real estate was moving higher, industrials, consumer defensives, but Magnificent Seven was down, with the exception, of course, of Tesla. So all in all, the S&P 500 added over $235 billion, up over 44 basis points on the day. And of course, this right here was Magnificent Seven. Just take a look at the stark difference in these 6 companies, or these 7 companies, including Netflix, versus what happened over here. Just a lot of momentum here, right? I mean, there's a lot of liquidity going into Tesla here, up another 8%, pretty much trading like a meme stock at this point, trading up to $321. I was live to capture the breakout above $300. It was absolutely magical during the market open live stream. And of course, Apple, Netflix, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, they were all slightly lower on the day, but of course, not a huge sell-off, but slightly red. But there's a huge difference here, right? Tesla, there's a lot of liquidity going into that stock after the elections, and Tesla just capped one of its best weeks in the market. This week, the stock was up a whopping 29%. 29%. That's, adding well over $300 billion in market cap this past week here. Just take a look at that candle breaking out not only above 270s, not only above 290s, but breaking out over 300s and 320s, all in the same week here. So we're going to go over the technicals, but we just got a huge breakout, and kind of absorbing all that supply from this red rectangle, which we were struggling at for a really long time. And if you go back a couple videos ago, we were talking about Tesla for a really long time, even from a couple weeks ago, that it is now more probable than ever before that we're going to see a potential breakout for Tesla coming in, with, of course, elections and everything the company's been working on is now all coming into life and all coming together. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But of course, Tesla hits a $1 trillion market cap as stock rallies after the Trump win. So huge congratulations to everybody. Tesla holders, Tesla shareholders, investors, traders, everybody making absolutely a killing this past week. And of course, the portfolio for me was up over $14,000 today, and also having one of the best weeks in the market. It was literally my birthday week, and also having one of the best weeks in the markets, up over $86,000 this past week here in the last 5 days. And I am super blessed and very grateful for these types of market momentums coming in. And it is a pretty split market, and I'll go over what that means towards the end of this presentation. But again, a huge congratulations to all of you for absolutely crushing it in the markets here in the last past week here. I'm sure you're also experiencing some very nice gains, especially on the back of Palantir, SoFi, Tesla, Nvidia. Those 4 stocks absolutely killing it in the markets right now. Now, I do want to mention that I've extended the sale for our courses one more day. So tonight is the night at midnight where this coupon code expires. There's been a lot of questions because it expired yesterday, and I got a lot of requests, so I've opened it up for one more day. So it expires tonight. The coupon code is going to be BDAY28, and you do get a 70% discount on fundamental, technical, options, and psychology courses. All the bundles are also going to be for sale. So pretty much all individual courses, as well as all 3 or 4 course bundles, 70% off. This is the biggest sale we've ever had, and tonight's the last night. If you want to take advantage of that, coupon code is going to be BDAY28. So if you've ever wanted to sign up, you get lifetime access to this. You can pretty much watch the videos whenever you want, for however long you want. Link's going to be down below for that sale here. So 70% off, coupon code BDAY28. I also did close out my SXL Put yesterday, so for everyone who's following along, and I did sell new ones today, so all the alerts were sent out on Discord. So again, if you want to get access to that also, link's going to be down for that as well. There's a few more spots left. You get access to the MoneyVest website, as well as of course all the options portfolio updates, trade alerts. It was actually also one of the best weeks in the options portfolio as well. That is separate to the long-term portfolio, so we're keeping track of the options portfolio every single week as well. So $84 billion inflows for Tesla, market cap now sitting well over $1 trillion. So a huge feat. Eli Lilly also pushing up almost $33 billion. Costco up over $13 billion. We had Salesforce, Procter & Gamble, United Health. We had Oracle, Walmart, Berkshire Hathaway all pushing higher. And some of the bigger sell-offs, of course, was the other Magnificent Seven stocks: NVIDIA, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, even Arista Networks. We discussed that during our Market Open live stream because of the earnings, was down over 7%, as well as Airbnb, Caterpillar, Meta Platforms, and John Deere was also lower here on the day. So these were the stocks that were selling off. The MoneyVest index sits at 3.91. Now, the interesting thing about this market is everyone is experiencing a very different market right now. And what I mean by that is that you might be wondering, right, if because I was thinking about this today, because I look at my portfolio and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm having a pretty good day, and I'm looking at the MoneyVest index at 3.9, and I'm like, it's still not above 4. You know, it is still not in the greed zone. And some of you guys might be, you know, and a few of you guys, hopefully nobody, but a few of you guys might be looking at your portfolio, you're flat or slightly down, let's say, because, you know, stocks that primarily dominate your portfolio may not be higher. And you might be wondering, like, how is, you know, MoneyVest index at 3.91, or how is the markets at an all-time high and I'm not even moving, like I'm barely moving. So in my opinion, I think everyone is experiencing right now a very different market. You know, fortunately, you know, people in our community are kind of similar in, you know, our holdings and our, of course, psychology and understanding of the markets and the holdings as well. So there's really 4 stocks that I want to discuss in this video that are having a very outsized gain. So these are the 4 stocks, and these are Palantir, SoFi, Tesla, NVIDIA. And if you just combine these 4 stocks, right? So this is what I've done. I've looked into the TradingView, you know, index. I've created an index for these 4 stocks and these 4 stocks only. Since August 5th, right? If you take a look at how these stocks have performed since August 5th, that's the carry trade blow up, right? The yen blow up that we experienced. Volatility was at a high of 65. This right here was the entire rally. And if you take a look at the entire gain, that is over 81%. A lot of that is coming off of Palantir and Tesla and SoFi. I mean, those 3 stocks have just absolutely gone crazy in the last 2 months here, right? August, September, now October. So pretty much 3 months, and now going into November as well. So 3.5 months, these 4 stocks have gone crazy. If you take a look at some of those individual gains, so let's just come over to Tesla. This was August 5th right here. Actually, this was here August 5th. So since then, Tesla is up over 78%, right? Palantir, another really strong stock. I mean, look at that, hitting a new all-time high, well over $58, up another 4%. Market cap now sitting well over $133 billion. I mean, just the momentum since August 5th, this stock has now more than doubled, like almost tripled at 174%. If you take a look at SoFi, look at this stock, right? I picked up shares at $10. And I thought that was a little bit more on the higher side, but I had to be aggressive. I sent out the alert in the Discord, picking up 200 shares, not a lot, but picking up 200 shares at $10 because of the earnings, and it was selling off quite a bit. It came down to $9.74. And take a look, August 5th, we were right there at $6. Stocks up over 117%. And finally, NVIDIA, now that it has moved a lot, but if you come over to August 5th here, $91, stocks up a decent 63%. So just these 4 companies, right, is really what I want to highlight in this market update. Not that there's other companies that have also participated. I mean, I can also go over Amazon, for example, since August 5th. I mean, this stock has also rallied over 38%. Not a whole lot, but it is still pretty decent. But the idea that I want to represent here is if you compare that to, let's say, the S&P 500, right? The SPX since August 5th is up a nice 17%. The NASDAQ composite since August 5th is up also a nice 23%. And the Dow Jones is up since August 5th a little bit over 14%. So not that we haven't seen those gains. We have seen very nice gains in the market indices, But it's really those 4 stocks that are very much loved, especially within our community. You guys know that, Palantir, Tesla, Nvidia, and now even SoFi. Our community is pretty big on SoFi, believe it or not. A lot of members own SoFi. They've been hammering on me not to have SoFi, but of course I've been accumulating little by little for every question you guys got right. But I have a very small position, so I'm happy about that. So I've got you guys to thank for it. But all in all, these are the 4 stocks, right, that are really creating this market sentiment around, especially retail traders are having a very, very nice sort of last 3.5 months, as we've seen an 81% gain in just these 4 stocks. But if you take a look at the markets overall, 17%, right? So you might be wondering, I was definitely wondering today, how is the Money Invest Index still not at 4? That's because majority of stocks are still trading below their moving averages. We're talking the stocks that are actually going to be moving the market, like the large cap blue chip stocks. You've got S&P 500, only 61% of stocks that are trading above their 20 simple moving average. You've got only 64% of stocks trading above their 50 moving average, and this number hasn't really moved much. We've only got 74% of stocks trading above their 200 simple moving average, and that's pretty much been flat. It's just been rotating back and forth here. It's really just been sideways. So the bottom line is that majority of stocks and majority of sectors are still, I shouldn't say majority, because 64% is the majority, and over here 61% is the majority. So about 39 to as much as 36% or so stocks are still trading below their moving averages, which is the 20, the 50, and another 27-28% of stocks. So about a quarter of the S&P 500 stocks still trading below their 200 SMA. So if a stock is trading below its 200 simple moving average, it is still very much in a downtrend. 200 SMA is a very long-term moving average. And if the stock is trading below that, that still represents a downtrend for that particular stock. So the bottom line is that the rallies that we've really witnessed, the gains that we have witnessed as a community, has primarily been driven by a select handful of companies. These are your Teslas and Palantir and Nvidia and SoFi. And I could even club Magnificent 7 in there. Not that we've seen significant gains. Like, for example, Google has rallied, but not as much, of course, as any other stock. So from its August 5th rally here, let's see, August 5th was right about there. Google is up a nice 14%. Meta, if you take a look, August 5th was right there. It is up a nice 32%. Apple, on the other hand, since August 5th, is up a nice 14%. So we haven't really seen a big burst of momentum here, but it feels like the market should be higher because of the outsized gains from just a select handful of stocks. Hope that makes sense, because what I'm trying to convey here is that since these stocks like Palantir, SoFi, Nvidia, Tesla are so loved and held among retail investors and more primarily within our community, we've had such amazing last couple weeks here, and it kind of feels like the market should be higher or the Money Invest Index should be higher, and we're just seeing this euphoria. But the reality is that we are not. We're really not. I mean, imagine if somebody only has the S&P 500 index or only has, let's say, Meta or Google or Microsoft or Enphase. I mean, they've experienced a very different market compared to people who only have Tesla or Palantir or SoFi as their primary holdings. So I hope that makes sense. So what I'm trying to convey here is the market actually is not as bad as what you'd imagine from a euphoria and greed standpoint. Yes, we're hitting all-time highs. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this week was incredible, 4.6% move to the upside. And the Dow Jones also having a phenomenal week, like up almost 2,000 points. And the NASDAQ composite up over 5.7, almost 6%. So no doubt about the fact that we had a very, very nice momentum to all-time highs. But given the state of the market breadth here, we're still not as bad as what it could get to from a euphoria and greed standpoint. So hope that makes sense. Now, coming over to some of the other updates. So Bitcoin is also on track, analysts are saying, to hit $100,000 after Trump's election victory. And, since we have moved into a very, very risk-on environment, this is clearly a very risk-on environment because of the stocks that are the kind of stocks that are moving higher. Bitcoin is no different. I could easily see it getting up to over $80,000, $85,000, $90,000 and eventually up to $100,000. It's purely based on demand and supply. Right now, trading well over $76,000 at the moment. And this right here is the market breadth that I showed you guys earlier. So again, these are some of the indicators that we account for when we're calculating for our Money Invest Index, as well as volatility, which was also lower at 14.9. But once again, I want to be very clear that we're nowhere near close to where we have been prior to this blow up of the yen carry trade. I mean, prior to that, if you go back to June, July, we were much, much lower. We were in the low 12s. So that is really a level where I start to become even more cautious and more alert about the market here. So, given where we are, I would say that the markets are becoming somewhat mild to somewhat hot, but it's not like red hot where we are seeing this blow the top off rally where just insane greed and euphoria in the market, because the technical indicators are not suggesting that as of yet. So, this is not a video where I'm going to be hammering down on caution here, where there's no more momentum, there's no more rallies left in the market, there's no more momentum in the tank, but instead we are getting to that level. We're not there yet. So hopefully that makes sense. If volatility comes down further, if market breadth continues to improve to a point where majority of stocks are trading above their moving averages, that is an indication this is a very, very overbought market. But until we get there, there's still room to run, right? That's basically what I'm getting across here, is that there is still room to run here from this market moving forward. So volatility, keep a close eye at 14.4, down to as low as here inside these red rectangles. But at the same time, keep your cash ready, right? So if you've got your liquidity framework down, you got to have at least some percentage of cash sitting on the sidelines, just waiting to be deployed. That's exactly what I'm also doing. Have cash ready. I did pick up some VIM, which is more of a dividend ETF, but we'll be ready to buy more individual stocks or even more ETFs and indexes if the opportunity presents itself. Meaning if the money invest index comes down and the volatility spikes, we will be ready to deploy capital into the markets. Now, the 10-year treasury is also coming down 4.3%. We were talking about TMF for a really long time. Nice little 3-day gain here for TMF, bouncing off of that support at $43. So it's seen a very nice recovery back up almost 10% in the last 3 days. And if the yields continue to come down, which in my opinion they've kind of topped out here, especially after the 25 basis point cut. And we talked about the technical analysis on the yields as well. It was on this chart, I believe. So if you come over to US 10Y, you'll notice that we've got a resistance tag at these levels, as I've discussed in my previous updates, at 4.5%. And of course, this downtrending channel as well. So I do believe that there is maybe some more potential downside on the yields, which can lead to some more upside on TMF and even TLT. So it's coming down to a very strong support. So keep a close eye on that swing trade potential as well, which is going to be on the bond market. Now, coming over to the markets, S&P 500 hitting an all-time high. So there's not really much for us to go over other than the fact that congratulations, everyone. 6,000 has been unlocked, has been achieved from the markets. And of course, the NASDAQ composite also getting up to an all-time high at over 19,300 from this rising wedge. We did get a little bit of a pullback, but then last 4 days have been very, very strong. Mostly the last 3 days. Today was basically flat for the NASDAQ, but all in all, very strong momentum coming in from the market. Apple here basically flat, down 23 basis points. We're going to quickly go over these stocks because there's really not much for us to go over. Support level 221, resistance at 236. Amazon also hit a new all-time high yesterday. Overbought right now, so I'd be very careful. Support level down as low as 200, down to 195 for Amazon. And of course, Tesla. I will be doing a video on Tesla over the weekend. You better believe it, considering how crazy this entire rally was. And of course, it got to a high of 328. So if you come over to our market snapshot on the MoneyVest website, this is the state of the market. All-time high on the S&P, all-time high on the Dow. NASDAQ is less than, literally like at an all-time high, 0.09%. It's pretty much nothing. And take a look at this. We are 2.5% away. In fact, when Tesla was trading at $320, we were not in a bear market anymore. We were not in a bear market for Tesla after such a long time. In fact, when it was at 328, Tesla from its all-time highs of 414 at one point was only down just over 20% from its all-time highs. So we are very close. I mean, this is a level that we haven't seen in such a long time. So this is a huge accomplishment on Tesla's part. So again, congratulations to everyone. Everything else seems to be in a little bit of a dip or a pullback right now. Tesla is the only one in a bear market, along with Advanced Micro Devices, which is now down more from its all-time highs than compared to Tesla. Even Adobe and Qualcomm are down more than compared to their all-time highs than compared to Tesla. So that, again, is a huge shift in the overall market momentum towards this one company. So we'll discuss this in more detail. We've got to turn this level into a support, and the next target I have on Tesla, believe it or not, is actually going to be 380s. That's going to be that next target. Are we going to get to that level? That is what we're going to discuss in the weekend update. But all in all, huge update from this company here. NVIDIA slightly down 84 basis points. Support level is going to stay put at 144. We hit a new all-time high 149, just shy of 150, but support level 144 down to 136 for NVIDIA here. Advanced Micro Devices also coming down over 1.2%. We've got a huge area of support and demand right about here for Advanced Micro Devices as well. It's going to be sitting roughly in the 130s for this company. PayPal also having a pretty good day. So, I mean, if you had PayPal, Palantir, SoFi, Tesla, and NVIDIA in your portfolio over the last, let's say, 3 months, you've absolutely crushed it, because since August 5th, PayPal has also had a 38% gain. So it's just been, just this crazy momentum that has just started a huge rally across the board and a huge risk on momentum coming in for a lot of these companies. But it's really just a handful of select companies. If you take a look at Enphase obviously since August 5th has performed very poorly. This right here is where August 5th was. Stock still down over 32%. I think there might be a few more companies like Neo that hasn't really done well since August 5th here. Might be a little bit better if you compare it to August 5th here. It's still up over 35-36%. But it's certainly not all companies. Like Snapchat, of course, since August 5th here, it is slightly up over 18%. So a significant amount of underperformance compared to, of course, other stocks in the market. So PayPal here also, the next target's going to be all the way up to as much as $88, $89, and support level is going to stay put at $80 for PayPal as well. And Visa also had a huge rally after the earnings, hitting a new all-time high. Support level is going to stay put down to $291 per share. And we're just going to go ahead and remove all of this, and we're going to start afresh on Visa here, so it becomes a little bit more clean for this company. So there was a little bit of a downtrending channel, of course, broke out above this level, and this right here is going to be that support at 291 with a huge gap to fill to the downside as well. Next up, we've got Meta Platforms, and Meta here also consolidating sideways quite a bit. There's actually going to be this chart over here for Meta, and Meta here coming up to that resistance again at $602 as we have discussed. Support level is going to stay put at $579. Google, on the other hand, also getting a little bit of that resistance at $183. Support level $175. That's exactly what we have discussed as well. And finally, coming over to Microsoft, which also has a resistance at $433. Support level is going to stay put down to $402. A lot of consolidation sideways in that range for Microsoft. And then finally, we come over to Enphase and Costco. Before we get there, Netflix was also trading at near all-time highs. Support level roughly sitting at $773. So that's going to be a level to watch as a area of demand. And then finally, we come over to Costco and Enphase. Costco also with a huge breakout coming in very strong, up over 3% higher. Support level is going to turn back into this level here at $919. And I'm also going to be including Palantir, of course. We have to new all-time highs coming in from Palantir. So all in all, nothing really for us to discuss other than the fact that it's incredibly overbought right now with the RSI and the MACD. And this week, the stock was up almost 40%. 40%. I mean, just take a look at this candle here. This is madness. This is madness. People are just bidding it up like crazy. And then finally, come over to the opposite of Palantir. Unfortunately, is Enphase down over almost 20% this past week. Support level next is going to be $64.50 for this company. Unfortunately, resistance is going to stay put roughly at $73, $74. So that's all for today. Hope you all had a fantastic week. Congratulations to everyone. It was my birthday week and we absolutely crushed it. So I'm super happy for all of you. And make sure that you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, we do have our Patreon link down below, Discord link if you want to join, get access to all the options, portfolio updates, trade alerts, MoneyVest website access, as well as tonight being the last day for that 70% discount if you're interested in taking advantage of all these lifetime access to the courses. Coupon code BDAY28 that does expire tonight. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.